Hey guys, it's Megan Lorson and I'm back with another video for you guys today. So if you guys like this haircut right over here, I just did the full tutorial, the video right before this one. So if you want to see how I got this blunt textured cut, I made a tutorial for you guys step by step how I cut her hair. So you can go check that out. It's the video before. I'll also link it down below so you can just click on over to it. But I love this haircut so much. It's a very salon friendly, salon reality haircut. I do these types of haircuts all the time. Guests are coming in showing me pictures of blunt haircuts, but they still have texture in them. So they're not heavy, they're very airy and light and volume and texture. So if you guys want to see how to cut interior layers, how to do a blunt textured cut, then check that video out. You could easily take this cut and do it a longer version of it. You could easily take it shorter and even do a really cute square blunt bob cut with texture in it. It would be super cute. So anyways, as promised, I told you guys that the next video is going to be me coloring her hair. So today we are going to color her hair and I'm so excited because we are going to be using some ashy gray colors. And I'm really excited because those are colors I feel like we all want to see and know about and what the formula is. So I'm actually going to be using 3 different formulas on her. They're all going to be ashy gray tones. And this look actually comes from a collection that Paul Mitchell just recently came out with, and it is their Grounded collection. And her look is specifically going to be, is inspired by stone. So when you think of a stone, you think of it can be textured, it can be smooth, and you get a completely different look when it's dry versus wet. So we're gonna kind of play with some variations in her hair. And so the 3 formulas that I'm gonna be using in her hair is we're gonna be using Paul Mitchell the Demi, 8PA, and 3A. So we're gonna be mixing these together and using this, the Demi, mixing it with processing liquid. And then the second formula, we're going to be using Paul Mitchell the Color XG. This is their permanent hair color line. And we're going to be mixing 6AA and 8PA together. And then the third formula, we're also going to be using the Color XG. And we're going to be mixing 8AA and Blue Intensifier. And I will give you guys the exact formulas as I'm mixing it so you know exactly what I'm using. So I'm gonna go ahead and get her sectioned off and show you guys the sectioning, and then we're gonna start applying color. This is gonna be so awesome because this gray is just such a trendy color, but also I think you guys are gonna like the formulas for like your clients that are wanting to go gray or start transitioning to gray. So I'm gonna show you guys those, and then stay tuned for my next video after this because you guys have requested for me to show you how to do an inverted long bob. So guess what? She's gonna be getting another haircut. After we color it, I'm gonna make another tutorial for you guys showing you how I cut my inverted long bobs. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that video when it comes out. All right, let's start sectioning and let's start coloring. Okay, so here's the sectioning that I'm gonna be using for her. I started at the top and did a slight diagonal section back, and we took it all the way back, just rounded it, did the same thing, started at the top, took a slight diagonal section back, and we just kind of rounded it around her head. Then I took these sections, divided them in half, and we're gonna keep these separate. And then in the front, I took a rectangle right in her front section and just sectioned that off. And then this was part of the first section that came down around her perimeter, but I went ahead and sectioned this up right here, this little almost triangle section, to get that out of the way so we have less hair to work with, so it's more manageable. And then did the same thing right here, and then we're gonna start taking these sections down and they'll lay on top of this. So basically I've got her whole perimeter of her hair left out. We're gonna start with that. And her perimeter is gonna be a little bit of a deeper color just to have a little bit of depth underneath. So we're gonna be using Paul Mitchell the Demi on her underneath perimeter area. So we're gonna be mixing 1 ounce of the Demi 8PA and then 1/2 ounce of 3A. So I'm gonna mix those together and we're gonna start applying that to her perimeter. All right, so I've got my Demi 8PA and 3A over here. And we're gonna start in the front and we're just gonna start applying it to that whole bottom perimeter section. I've got some foils here too I like to place underneath. It just keeps the application cleaner and it keeps it from getting on their skin and all over the cape. And then I always like to color with a towel, and I usually just hang it on my color cart just so I can wipe my hands, especially when I'm doing transitional colors and I'm working with multiple colors, in case I need to wipe my hands on to get the hair down. And just a little tip, when you are doing this, when you are applying just a full color in general, an all over color, especially have a towel. And I like to even get a damp towel, just put a little water on it and make it so it's just slightly damp. And it makes it so much easier when you are sectioning the hair. What happens a lot of times when we're doing an all over color, working with multiple colors, we're applying the color, we're running it through with our gloves, and instead of wiping it, we're taking all that color and then we're transferring it onto the other hair that we're sectioning. And a lot of times what happens, you start getting color in the hair and then it gets harder to work with the hair because it's got color on it, so it's harder to comb through it, starts getting matted, starts getting tangled, and the next thing you know, we've got a big mess. It takes us way longer to apply, and it's also not as comfortable for the guests because then we're trying to work with their hair and untangle it and apply it. So right before I section the hair, I'll wipe my gloves off completely, clean them off, so that way it's nice and clean every time I go to take my next section. All right, so I'm going to mix this up a little bit more, and I love working with the Demi. It's a gel-like consistency, so it's loose, but it's like a gel, so it's got a little bit of thickness to it. But I love working with it because it applies to the hair so nicely. Like, it just glides onto the hair. I love it. It just saturates the hair so nicely. And a little bit of product goes a long way. This is gonna be so pretty, you guys. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and, actually I'm gonna lift this hair up first. Apply under here. And get that nice and saturated. And then I'm gonna take my towel and just clean up her hairline. I got a little bit of color on there, just make sure she's nice and clean. Make sure we keep her that way. And I do this to my clients too when I'm working on them. If I get a little bit of color on them, or especially after I finish their application, I'll go back through with a little bit of color remover or a damp towel and just clean up their edges while they're processing. Nobody wants to sit there and process with color on their face, and it's better to get it off sooner than later because it's going to be a lot easier to get off it versus if you wait until the end of the process to try to get the color off. Also, it honestly just elevates your service, you guys. When you keep your guest experience really nice and clean and think about little details like that, you can charge more because you're creating a better experience for your guests. And it's a small thing, but I'm telling you guys, small things like that make a big difference. Clients remember it and you're more professional for it. All right, let me turn her around so you guys can see how I'm applying this. Just going along her hairline, getting this applied. Formulas. So the first one is I mixed up equal parts of 8 PA and 6 AA. So I did 1 ounce of each, and then I did 2 ounces of 20 volume developer mixed in with these. And then the second formula is 1 ounce of 8 AA, with a pea size of the blue intensifier. And I love the blue intensifier, or the intensifiers, period. There is like gold, orange, there's a green intensifier, blue, red, violet, and you can mix them in with any of the Paul Mitchell Color XG colors to intensify the color, or I personally also like to use them for like color corrections. I can add a little bit of blue in there if I'm trying to cancel out some orange while I'm doing a color, or I can add a little bit of gold to intensify and brighten the color, or I can even add green into my formula if I'm trying to eliminate red in the hair, which I've done a lot. So I love using intensifiers. So literally I just added in like a little tiny pea size. And the key with the intensifiers is you want to actually mix the color with the intensifier first. So I mixed these together first and then added the developer in and then mixed it all together. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna work in this front section right here. And I'm going to take a little panel through here, and I'm gonna grab a foil, and I'm gonna go ahead and apply the 8AA with the little pea size of blue intensifier on this whole entire section right here. And I'm gonna get that nice and saturated. Okay, so after that first panel, I'm just gonna fold the foil over so it keeps it from getting on this next color. So what I'm gonna do now is actually take the first formula we did, which is the Demi, and it is the 8PA mixed with a little bit of 3A. So we're gonna add a piece of this in her hair just to add a little extra depth. And then on this top section, we're going to do the last formula, which is the 8AA and the 6AA. No, sorry, it's the 6AA and the 8PA. So I'm gonna do the rest of this color on this top section. And I'm gonna repeat the same thing on the other side. I just finished both of her sides, so now we're going to move on to this rectangle piece in the front. And what I'm going to do is apply the 8AA with the blue intensifier. I'm going to apply that first, and then I'm going to do a skinny section in the middle of the 6A, or sorry, no, the Demi formula, the 8PA and the 3A, and then on top, and then the rest of the back is going to be getting the 6PA or the 6AA mixed with the 8PA. So that is going to be the final formula that goes on this top section, as well as the whole entire rest of the back section. finished applying all the color, and you guys can see it processing already. It's looking nice and ashy. It's got a little bit of a violet tint to it. It's gonna be so pretty. I can't wait for you guys to see this. So I did use 20 volume, and the reason I did use 20 volume developer is because I wanted her results to be a little bit softer, and I didn't want it to be too dark. So by doing 20 volume, it's just gonna give it a little bit of a softer look. And you could easily apply this on damp hair as well, the Color XG and the Demi, and you could use them to tone with, and you could let them process anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes or even 10 minutes if you're just using it for toning. In this case, we're gonna go ahead and let it process the full 35 minutes to let it get the full deposit. And this also would give your client the most longevity by letting it process the full 35 minutes. So I'm gonna let her process. I'm gonna wash her and style her, and then I will show you guys the end result and what it looks like after I get her all dried and styled. Okay guys, here is the finished look. I just love how this turned out. It's very dimensional. You can see all the different gray, ashy formulas that we use today in her hair. This is such a perfect color for a lot of our guests that are wanting to go gray, let their natural come through. You can see a little bit of that 8AA where we added that little tiny pea size of blue intensifier, but it's such a beautiful color. It's definitely not blue. It's still, I would consider a gray and an ashy color, but it's so pretty. And then you can see the 6AA with the 8PA, and then you can see some of the lighter tones. So pretty. I just love how this turned out. Let me know what you guys think about this color and the formulas that I use. And if you have any other questions, let me know. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Roots is super pretty. I just wanted to show it to you guys in this light also, because I felt like the light upstairs in my beauty/office room didn't quite show the colors that good, so I wanted to show it to you guys down here in a little bit different lighting so you guys could see just different tones and see it a little differently.